title of his speech is Control from Beyond. Cary will be sharing a document that nobody's eyes or ears have had the chance to grace and see this, except his. So tonight, Cary Rowe.
I didn't realize it was Earth Day. My speech, oddly enough, does have something to do with Earth Day, if I think about it the right way. Or the Earth, anyway. Thank you, fellow Toastmaster, or Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our honored guest. A husband and wife were sitting and watching TV. Part of the TV show had to do with preparing for the end of life. When the commercial came on, the husband turned to the wife and said, "Dear, please make me a promise. If I'm ever dependent on technology and bottled fluids, please just put an end to it." And she said, "Sure, hon." She got up from the couch, turned off the TV, and poured out his beer. In my practice, I help many people plan for what will happen to their assets after they're no longer here. Most of them want to try to control them at that point in time. But planning is of seismic importance, regardless of the size of your assets. So not too long ago, I decided that I needed to also control some things from beyond. So I wrote some instructions to my wife. And these instructions are sealed. No one knows where they are except for my daughter. And so no one has heard any of these until tonight. And I will share some of them with you. I begin with my dear Wanda. If you're reading this, either I'm dead or you're plundering in my stuff again. I love you very much, but please stop. And then I'll tell her what to do with life insurance, who to call, and so forth. I tell her she can either bury me or cremate me, I really don't care, as long as she does whatever she's going to have done with her. So I'd like for her to be next to me when that time comes. It's okay for her to remarry, but the kids should like the person she remarries, and that he can find his own resting place, because I want him around there when that time comes. Spouses remarrying or parents remarrying can be a traumatic thing. Bob was the son of a billionaire. His father was nearing the end of his life. He was single, so he looked up his high school sweetheart named Jill. Went to Jill and said, "Jill, I'm going to be a billionaire in just a short time period. My father's dying. Will you please marry me? Come live at my house, and so we can be billionaires." And she agreed to go live at his house. And that's how Jill became Bob's stepmother. Food is very important at funerals, especially in the South. I hope mine will be a celebration and not a mourning time. I like barbecue, but if I'm cremated, that may not be appropriate to do. We should have some good music and some good food there. An elderly man was sent home from the hospital to die. The family came in to visit with him. And he was talking to his granddaughter, who was sitting on the edge of the bed. He took a deep breath and said, "I think I smell Grandma's peach cobbler." And she breathed in. She said, "I think I do too." He said, "Would you please go ask Grandma for a piece of that peach cobbler?" So she got up and left. So he came back in a few minutes and said, "I'm sorry, Grandpa, the cobbler's for the funeral." The food's very important in the South, funerals. For music, I asked for Amazing Grace, the song Seasons in the Sun. Y'all know that song? That's an old, old song. Maybe Blood, Sweat, and Tears, I Ain't Scared of Dying. That might be a fun one for everyone. Or Hank Williams Jr., It Ain't Nobody's Business. But my favorite song is The Impossible Dream, so somewhere along we should have that added to there. And I like the way Jim Neighbors sings it, so if they can hire him to come sing it, that would be great too. There should be enough money to do that. I tell her that I hope she will celebrate our life and time together. She and I have moved a lot over the years, being transferred and such. But for this move, at least I won't have to pack any boxes. No one knows what the afterlife is going to be like. Everyone has their own ideas about that. George was laying in bed sleeping one night, tossing and turning, and his wife shook and woke him up. And he sat straight up in the bed, and she said, "George, what's wrong?" He said, "I had a terrible nightmare." She said, "What happened?" He said, "I died." She said, "Oh no." "Then what happened?" "I went to heaven." She said, "Well, that's good, right?" He said, "No. I was standing there and God sneezed." "What do you say?" I would appreciate having my family visit my grave once in a while. I don't think I'll be there, but the Mormons might be right. And if they're right, then they should visit. And then plant some flowers so a lawnmower's not running back and forth. I tell her she's not obligated to pay my business debts. She can tell them that I was bailed out and left the country. And that I've always loved her. I hope we'll be together again for eternity. Joe was sitting around the coffee shop visiting with his friends. And he said, "Guys, I've got great news." I said, "What is it, Joe?" He said, "I'm getting married." And one of them said, "Well, that's wonderful, Joe. Tell us about her." Well, she's a very attractive, short brunette. She's 46 years old. And one of them broke in and said, "46 years old, Joe, you're 84. You've been married 3 times and survived all of those other marriages. Do you think someone your age should really be involved with a 46-year-old? Do you know what the risks are?" Joe thought for a moment, and he said, "Well, guys, I think I'll go ahead and marry her. And if she dies, she dies." Live life to the fullest. You never know what day will be your last. Fellow Toastmasters.